Alright, fine. It's called the shoe, not Neelan North. Don't rub it in. What's up, everybody? TN Fanatic here. Hope you all are having a fantastic day, and welcome to another post-game reaction. In this one, I am ending my coverage of this year's season of the Tennessee Vols, and it is going to end with a tragic loss. Tennessee loses to the Ohio State. Them Buckeyes, dude. In round one of the college football playoff, 42-17. Absolutely humbling and humiliating. And you know what? I'm wearing this hat right here. I think it's very fitting, actually, for this video because we are going on our vacation after this, because this was humiliating for me. This came out of nowhere. I will get into all of that. But let's dive right into the game itself, because it's going to suck. So coming into this game right here, I think both us and the Buckeyes, I think it was a big key for both of us, for both teams' offenses to have a good start. Not just based on what's happened in past games to us and the Buckeyes, but also what happened earlier in these playoffs. We saw Indiana, SMU, and Clemson get the crap beat out of them because mainly they didn't have great starts. So yeah, both teams' offenses they have to start fast. Unfortunately, it is Ohio State that does it first. They beat us to it, man. They were beating us on a lot of stuff. So on their opening drive, it is a good one. 5 plays for 75 yards, and then 3rd and 2. 14:03 in the first. There was a penalty on Bryson Eason, for a face mask. But you know what? When I looked at that, I was like, oh, here we go. Not only is Ohio State going in to dominate, but now the refs are on their side. Because if you look at that, yes, Eason got a little bit of the face mask, but 77 for the Buckeyes, he had his face mask as well. And that one was not called. And then 2nd and 16, Howard, he finds Henderson for a 21-yard gain. And then he finds Jeremiah Smith for 37 yards. They're passing on us like we are a second-tier team. And they do it right here to start it off. It's a 37-yard score. So wow. I mean, I was just in a state of shock. But I said to myself, you know what, boys, let's just calm down. Look, I mean, maybe they were just feeding off of their fans and, just all the stuff that was going into this game. But, we've had good road wins before in our season. So all that we need is a response, and it does not happen. We have a 3 and outs. Darn it! 3 and outs. The Buckeyes get the ball back, and once again, they're just tearing up our defense. One of the best in the country, one of the best in these playoffs, and they are just humiliating us at the line. 2nd and 6, Howard, he finds Egbuka for 40 yards. A 40-yard pass. I know that Egbuka and their other receiver, Smith, as well, they're both great players. But, we have a great defensive, we have great backs as well. And it's just not translating. It did not translate here. And also on this play right here, and, this just shows just how out of funk that we were. Thomas, one of our linebackers, he was just out of position. He was the one covering Amika on this play right here. And I said cover as in covering. He's a linebacker. What are we doing? Where are our corners, guys? Why do we have a linebacker? That's the first thing. Why do we have a linebacker chasing Egbuka? That's a mismatch all day. Howard will pick us off. And then 2nd and goal. Jenkins, he runs for a 1-yard score. Ohio State, they're just doing it right off the bat, and this is a complete 180 of what we saw from them against the Wolverines. And so breaking it down like this. This was after they scored these first 2 touchdowns, right? So against Michigan, we all know that the Buckeyes, they only scored 10 points. 10. And their total yards per play were 4.3. Already, in the first quarter, these first 2 scores, they got 14 points. They already surpassed that total that they got from the Wolverines game. And their average yards per play was 13.3. Against, we ain't no cream puffs. This is a great defense. We've proven it all year long. But the Buckeyes are just tearing us apart. And as for our offense, Samson couldn't get anything going. Nico, there was that play where, his helmet got cracked and he was spazzy in the pocket. So Buckeyes get the ball back, and here they come again. Again! This didn't even happen when we played Georgia. Let's see. I think Georgia, I know they scored over 30 points in that game, but, I feel like the points in that game were more spread out than they were here. Ohio State has a 7-play, 58-yard drive that ends on a 2nd and 12. 3:27 in the first. Henderson has a 29-yard run for the touchdown. This is the Vols defensive line with great players. James Pierce Jr., Thomas. What is going on? And actually, after this score, my mom, who is not a sports fan, she chimes in and said, well, maybe the Vols were partying too much, which, you know what? I'm not going to say that she was wrong. Not just because she is my mom, but look at what's happening here. This is crazy. The Buckeyes, they had 191 offensive yards at that point. We had -6. -6. At that point, the main message is, guys, look, let's just have something positive. Just something, But on 3rd and 14, Nico, he tries to just force something downfield. He might have been looking for Squirrel White on that play. And on this play, once again, here is another example of not only the Buckeyes getting credit, but the refs just backing them up. Thornton was being held. That was definitely PI. It was not called. So the refs for this game, they were from the ACC, which, if you're a fan of an ACC team, may I just give my sympathy to you? Because dang, do y'all refs stink this much? Come on, that was clearly pass interference. It's almost as bad as Cleve Blakeman up in here. And again, all these Ohio State highlights right here, all of the Tennessee downfalls that I just mentioned, they all took place in just the first quarter. I'm not even a quarter of the way done yet. Well, actually, I kind of am. See that? My brain, man. It can't take this stress. So second quarter. So the Buckeyes, they just continue just doing their thing. It's working, so why would they stop? 4th and 4. They actually go for it. They have enough moxie in them and enough confidence to go for it against us. And they actually get it. Howard passes to Jeremiah Smith for a 10-yard gain. So it looked like that the Buckeyes, they were going to score again. But finally, Tennessee, we have something to cheer about. We have something positive to talk about here. 1st and 10, Howard, his pass is intercepted by Will Brooks. Now, there was a conversation, there was a review about this on, whether or not, Brooks had, his foot in bounds. Maybe an argument could be made, but guys, come on. We're down 21 points. Give us something right here. Thankfully, the refs did. So maybe they're not as bad as Cleve Blakeman. Maybe. 3rd and 6. The Buckeyes, they get a penalty for roughing the passer. And so this is when we got the ball back. And it was on Jackson Jr. I want to make sure that I mention this because, I'm sure there were some Buckeye fans out there that might disagree, with this call. But just my point of view, I might be a little biased here, but just based on like guys like Tua getting hit and going down with concussions. I don't think it was the initial hit that got Jackson flagged. It was the follow through that like got him. I mean, like you have to call that. I feel like. I mean, good night. Like Jackson did like a Roman Reigns spear on poor Nico out there. I mean, my gosh. So that penalty, it does set us up nicely. We are getting close to the end zone. But on 3rd and 9, Nico, he tries to find Brew in the end zone. And then for Ohio State, who was covering Brew, that DB, you know who you are, bro. It was number 3. The bro, like, dude didn't even, like, turn around. He didn't even look behind him. I mean, come on, like, earlier in the game, same thing, like, when we were called, like, I mean, I know just earlier in that game, there were some penalties on us, like, downfield, so refs, here was a chance to right that wrong, and you just didn't do it. Brew is getting manhandled, and it was not called. So maybe these ACC refs aren't as bad as Cleve Blakeman. So, oh my gosh, we need some points on the board. So we do take a field goal, which, like you have to take it. Like you have to. 21-3 Buckeyes. Final Vols drive of the first half. It is a good one. Finally, we have a 16-play, 79-yard drive. So with Dylan Sampson being out for pretty much this entire game, which that really stings to say. Nico, my boy, the freshman. Some people forget that. Like, he is still a freshman. He puts the team on his back here. He's scrambling. He has run after run after run. And then second to goal, Nico, he takes it in himself for the touchdown. Ohio State actually does try to get a field goal at the end of the first half, but Fielding, he misses it. So it is 21-10 at the half. So somehow, with us being down 21-10, we still have a shot. Third quarter, I was thinking to myself, if we just had a good opening drive and we scored something, that would be like a one-score game right there, plenty of time left, and we would be up and we'd be back in it. Now, third quarter, a team definitely got going, but unfortunately, it was the team wearing red. So after we have the opening drive of the second half, it went absolutely nowhere. I think it was like 6 plays. Ohio State, they have just a quick, just picking us apart, a 6-play, 65-yard drive. And on this drive, G. Scott for them. He was just burning us to death. This has never happened, ever. So then on second and 8, 9:50 in the third, Howard, he finds Scott Jr. for a 26-yard gain. Here's he's just rolling all over us. I mean, like, who didn't have a bad night for, like, the Buckeyes? Honestly, who didn't have a bad night? Everyone did great. And on this play right here to G. Scott, I mean, guys, look, someone has to cover him. Like, he cannot be that wide open. So 1st and 10 at the 22, 9:16 in the third, Howard, he finds Jeremiah Smith for a 22-yard touchdown. And this was against Jermod McCoy. One of our best defensive players, arguably the best DB we have on this team. And he was just chasing all the way. He was beat like 5 seconds in there. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. And also, here is just another thing that's just rough for me, and I'm sure it was rough for Vols fans as well. Look, the start of the game, maybe we just, maybe like the atmosphere, it was just getting to us a little bit. But then by the end of the first half, it's like, okay, like we're starting to pick up some steam here. Then this third quarter happens, and it's just a shot right in the heart. It's humiliating. The Buckeyes, they just put their foot on our throats, and they did not let off at all, and it showed. But what I will say, because I always like to give my Vols praise whenever I can. It is a little tough to find in this game right here, but Nico, gotta give him credit, man, because you know what? He showed a lot of heart in this game. He was getting beaten up. Like, his helmet was getting cracked, you know. I mentioned that earlier, but he was just running, scrambling, keeping drives alive, man. And like, he did have a nice final he did have a nice final touchdown drive for us to end this game, but I mean, like, it didn't really matter at that point. The Buckeyes were running all over us. They absolutely humbled us. Like, there's really no other way to put it. Once again, they win 42-17. It's really one of those games that like gave me pause and I was in just like a state of shock and almost, you know, honestly, like I was like denying this. I was like, there's no way that this happened, but it happened. This is the most points that we've ever allowed a team to score against us all year. And so if you've watched my prediction for the college football playoff, here's what I said. I said that, you know what, this was a close second to playing a home playoff game in Neyland, because the Buckeyes' run defense has not been great. Their O-line, who had 2 starters out, they've been just reshuffled all year long. They were vulnerable. We had a great defense, and it was just, I thought it was just a perfect matchup for us. And also, one other thing that I said is that our offense, it runs through Dylan Sampson. Absolutely. And I thought here he was going to have a huge game and us maybe winning. Maybe winning. I never said in that video we're here that like we were going to blow out like the Buckeyes. No. I mean, you know, they were favored by like 7.5. So I thought maybe if we won, it would be like, maybe we would win by like 7 or like 10, you know? But again, talking about Dylan Sampson, I thought he was going to be a big factor for us. He has been all year long. And in this game, Sampson, he had 2 carries for 6 yards. That's it. I mean, what? I mean, come on. I mean, okay, so here's another example on how I thought that this game would line up perfectly for us. Will Howard, let's talk about him. Against Michigan, he completed only 19 passes and had 2 picks against a Wolverine secondary that was pretty banged up. But in this game, against great secondary, great safeties, great players, Will was 24 for 29, 311 yards passing. Egbuka had 5 catches for 81 yards. Smith had 6 receptions for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, against the Vols secondary, who was healthy, that had talent all around, NFL top-tier talent. We've been great all year. And just here in this game, we were chasing Egbuka, and like we were chasing Smith. And so here's the one that really shocked me. Again, talking about their O-line for the Buckeyes. They had 2 starters out, and they've been hurt. They've been trying to figure it out. Ryan Day, he has been trying to figure it out, how to just properly protect Will Howard, trying to prepare him for our pass rush that we have, our great pass rush, all year long. Give him credit. He did a good job. I don't know what he found, but he found it. Our defense, one of the best in the nation. James Pierce Jr. A guy who, come on, like he's going to the NFL. Absolutely. A guy like that, against the banged up in a reshuffled Buckeyes line, 3 tackles. And I can't believe that I'm reading that. 3 tackles. And I don't think Howard was sacked once. He was doing whatever he wanted in the pocket. He had all the time in the world. It's really humbling. It is. It really is. And again, I never said that we were gonna just beat up on them like on the Buckeyes. Even after they lost to Michigan, I still gave them credit in the prediction video because I said, you know what, they have one of the best receiving cores in the entire country. And you know what, that was proof also, like right here. But I gave them credit. I never said we were going to obliterate them, but I at least thought we were going to put up a fight. We had a great team all around. Absolutely. Dylan Sampson, the records that he broke this year. Oh my gosh. 2 carries, man. It's 2 carries. It's honestly crazy because he rightfully won the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. He earned that award. It wasn't even close. The first running back to win that award since Kerryon Johnson did it in 2017. Tim Banks, our defensive coordinator, nominated for the Broyles Award for the nation's best assistant coach. Also rightfully so. He orchestrated this phenomenal defense that only allowed an average of 11.6 points per game all season in the SEC against great offenses. But in this game, I got to pull it up. I have to because it's like it's rough. It really is. Tennessee, coming into these playoffs, we were the only team in the playoffs with a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Everything was, you know what? Everything was going right for us. The fans were showing out. There was all this stuff going around about like the Buckeyes and their athletic director, who he actually released a statement before this game. Excuse me. He asked fans not to sell their tickets to Tennessee fans, and he went out to say that Tennessee fans are attempting to invade the shoe, which is exactly what we did. It's exactly what we did. Kirk Herbstreit said on game day himself, he said, in 29 years of doing college game day, I've never seen an opposing fan base take over like Tennessee has today. We were taking over. Some dude changed the name from the shoe on like Google Maps to Neyland North. Everything was going right for us. We had all the momentum in the world. The media was having confidence in us, actually. Some people were for us to actually win. Everything was lining up for us perfectly. And I thought about this. Maybe that's exactly the motivation that the Buckeyes needed. Just to dominate us. Because, you know what? I'm sure that they heard all this stuff too. You know, I heard, I'm sure that they heard how Vols Nation was taking over. And how just after Michigan, they are done. The Buckeyes are over. And how it's a perfect matchup for Tennessee. But give the Buckeyes credit. Give them credit. It stings, but give them credit. They had a great game plan on both sides of the ball. We were just outmatched in almost every single category that you can possibly think of. It was rough. And so this game right here, the end results of not just this game, but also all of the first round games, it really made me think. And you know what? I want to say this before I end this video. Because I know that there will be fans out there that will say, oh, well, Tennessee, they didn't earn it. They shouldn't have been in. And I know fans are saying the same thing about SMU and Indiana, excuse me. My gosh, I can't take it. Lane Kiffin himself took to social media. And he was bashing the CFP for letting in SMU over his Ole Miss Rebels. And he was saying something. I don't have the exact tweet, but he was saying something wow, what a thrilling playoff that this is right here. Geez. That was Lane Kiffin's words. So that also gave me some thought. So here's what I'll say. Would Ole Miss have given Penn State more of a fight than SMU did? Probably. Would Alabama? Maybe. Look, we all know that Indiana, they didn't have the best strength of schedule either this season. And perhaps a showed against Notre Dame. But honestly, you know what? Look, if we're going to keep complaining about Power 4 teams now, if we are still complaining about them not having good strength of schedule, you know what? Let's do this. Let's either move everybody to the SEC or just have the college football playoff with SEC teams only. Because what is the point now? What is the point? Because apparently 1 or 2 bad games completely defines a team's season. Talking about Indiana, here is an example. Look, the Hoosiers, they have one of the best offenses in the country. All year, all season. Yes, their level of competition wasn't as good as teams in the SEC. But you know what? Neither was Notre Dame's. They're independent. They don't play anybody. Which, yeah, you know what? I know people, right now, they're saying, the Irish, they are a great team. But what happens when they get obliterated by the Bulldogs? What's going to happen then? Oh, well, some people might say, oh, well, the Irish, they're not very good. They are, independent. They need to play someone. People, just stick to your opinions. The Irish are a great team. They are. And if they do lose to Georgia, that bad game should not define their season. Let me put it to you in another way. For fans who thought that Ashton Jeanty should have won the Heisman Trophy, which he had a great year. He did. But what happens if against Penn State, who has one of the best run defenses in the nation, what happens if Jeanty goes cold and Boise State gets beat? Will those opinions of Jeanty stay the same, or will they change? Because they played a higher level of competition. Jeanty faced a higher level of competition. I'm just saying, put it out there. Boise State, they're in the Mountain West. What are people going to say if Jeanty gets absolutely humbled and humiliated? I'm throwing it out there. And also, I know also that there are fans after this week that said, oh, it should have been Bama. It should have been Ole Miss. SMU they did not deserve to get in. Come on. SMU, they came back against Clemson in the title game. They made that a game. And that takes heart. That takes guts. Why didn't Alabama do that against Oklahoma? Why didn't Ole Miss beat Florida? If you really are a great team, if Bama claims to be this great team, they are pretty good. But if they claim to be great, why can't they end the year strong? Why can't they finish the year by beating out Oklahoma? We beat them on the road. Why can't they? The main point that I want to make here is that no one bad game should define a team's year. SMU, the Hoosiers, those are great teams, and we are a great team as well. And this loss should not define the work that we put in, the work that Coach Heupel has put in, and the work that this team has put in to contend for the national championship. It just wasn't our night. It just wasn't. But here's what I want to end on. Even though yes, this loss sucks and our season is done, I still want to make sure that this season, it is seen as a positive. We took another step toward our ultimate goal of winning a national title. I know we are going to lose some players in the draft, but that comes every single year. Great college teams, they always deal with that, like the changes. But we are going to be fine. We are going to be fine. We've got a great recruiting class. We are going to learn Nico, who, by the way, was still a freshman. He's a freshman, man. He is going to learn. He will get better, and we will get better. Mark my words. It will happen. But fans, that is going to do it for this post-game reaction. Thank you all so much for watching. Fans, I'm not completely done with covering college games yet. When the national title game gets here, I will have a prediction video as well as a reaction video to that game as well. So stay tuned for that. But once again, fans, it will do it here. If you all enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, click that bell, and you can join our Fanatic Army. And honey salutes to all of you as always, and I hope that all of you have a fantastic day. Go Vols!